Raiders hired John Gruden back, he said, I am. And then he screwed up Khalil Mack's contract with a bam. But now he's on the run because Howie Roseman's going to give him a prostate exam. Pop goes the Gruden, the Gruden. Pop goes the Gruden, the Gruden. Pop goes the Raiders because John Gruden's going to pop.
Kick the red, double move on the red.
Yo everybody, how you doing? King Ding back here. Now, before I start this video, I gotta say, yes, I can't rap, I can't sing, I stink. I know, but I don't care. I'm just having fun. Now, in this video, I want to know if you could make a strength even stronger, would you do it? Would it be worth it to you? See, the Eagles have, in my opinion, the best defensive line in football. But there may be an opportunity for them to get even better, to get even stronger. Would you consider it? I sure would. I know what the defensive line means to a football team, especially the Eagles. And, you know, I did a video maybe a week and a half ago, and I was talking about the situation in Oakland with Khalil Mack. And in the video, I said that it was going to only get worse, and at some point, they would start shopping him around. Well, it appears that we've already reached this point because there are sources, there are people saying that the Raiders are quietly listening to offers for Khalil Mack. And this is only going to be revved up as time goes, as both sides of Khalil Mack and the Raiders do not even talk to each other. And I think that it's becoming likely, or at least a pretty good chance, that the Raiders may trade him at some point. Now, the Eagles don't need Khalil Mack to win a Super Bowl again. They don't need him. They don't. That is true. They don't need him. They have a lot of cap problems. There's all those things that are true. However, I believe Khalil Mack is a top 3 defensive player in this league. I think he's a top 3 defensive player who's only 27 years old and has a lot of years left to play. Okay? And when you get a situation of a guy like that, I think that you have to consider trying to get him. Now, there are already some teams that are apparently in on the Khalil Mack sweepstakes. I heard Chicago's name. I heard the Jets a couple times. I heard the Dallas Cowboys. I've heard the San Francisco 49ers. I'm assuming that the Giants would be on it. He's that good of a player. And to me, as an Eagle fan, even though we don't need him, if we could get him, I would do it. You see, Bennett is older, and Brandon Graham is in the last year of his contract. It doesn't sound like the Eagles are going to bring him back. I think he's over 30. He's 30 or older. And a lot of people expect him to be in his last year. So the next year, you're going to have Bennett and Derek Barnett. But if you could bring Khalil Mack to go with Derek Barnett, you would have a lethal defensive line. Now, is this likely? No. The Eagles do have cap problems. They do have to sign Carson Wentz and all those things. I get all that and all those problems. But to be honest with you, that's not my problem. That's not my deal. I'm not Howie Roseman. We have Howie Roseman to work those things out. I've seen Howie Roseman do quite amazing things with the cap and figuring things out, and I would trust him to do it again. Now, whether the Eagles get Khalil Mack or they don't, whether they even try, I trust them 100%, no doubt about it. So we're going to be fine. This is just speculation. This is just talk, okay? But Khalil Mack is an outside linebacker with the Oakland Raiders. On the Philadelphia Eagles, he would be a 4-3 defensive end, okay? He would be a double-digit sack guy. He would be awesome. He would be awesome with the Eagles. Me personally, if it's true and the Raiders are shopping this guy for real or taking offers, I would try to trade some guys and get them. I would. My offer would be probably something to the effect of Michael Bennett, Ronald Darby. We have 2 second-round picks, maybe one of those second-round picks, and I would offer something like that. Now, the Raiders may be wanting a lot at first. That is true. But as this thing continues, as this thing goes on, it's going to get harder and harder for the Raiders to keep him. And the longer he stays on the Raiders, the less value they're going to get out of him. Because teams are not going to give them a ton when, you know, it's so late in the season or you're getting near the trade deadline or whatever it is. But I got to say this. If the Eagles can get this guy, I think that they should. I think they should try to do it without getting rid of Brandon Graham. I think you keep Brandon Graham, let him play his contract out, and then bring, Khalil Mack in. Maybe you get rid of Michael Bennett. Darby, a second-round pick, maybe a fourth in a couple years. At some point, the Raiders are going to hurt their value for this guy by keeping him, by making this whole thing that is now public a big deal. And the value of him is being lost in a trade. We've seen this. We've seen the Eagles do this with Deshaun Jackson and with other guys that people know they were trying to trade and they weren't going to give a lot. So maybe you may get a good deal. Now, is this likely? No. I said a 1% chance a week and a half ago. I say a 2% chance now. Still not likely. But it is likely that he's going to get moved. I think it's 50-50 right now that he gets traded. So we are making progress towards that. The matter is, the more that this is in public, the more that people are waiting and hearing they're not even talking, the more time that goes on, the less value the Raiders are going to get for him if they decide to trade him. Remember, this is the last year of his contract, and then he's a free agent. So I think that there is an opportunity here. Now, the Eagles don't need him. They have a lot of things on their plate. I just would like to see them at least make an attempt or inquire. If they do that, I'm happy. I mean, the truth of the matter is, no matter whether they get him or not, I'm happy with the Eagles. I trust the front office. I trust what they're doing. But me, on a personal level, I think when you can get a top 3 defensive player in the league, when I think you can get a top 3 defensive player on the league that is to go to a Super Bowl team, I think you got to try to do it. And we know how the Eagles value the defensive end position. Now, if you got rid of Bennett, let's say, and you brought in Khalil Mack, let's just say for argument's sake, and then after this year, Brandon Graham leaves, you don't resign him because you have Khalil Mack and Derek Barnett, you now have 2 stud defensive ends for the next 3 or 4 years easy on this team. And they're going to be very hard to beat. It's going to be a brutal, brutal defense. So it's something to consider. It's something to think about. It's nothing that I'm hanging my hat on or saying, I hope this happens. Nothing like that. But it's interesting to think about. It's interesting to see, hey, here's an opportunity we didn't expect. Now we're going to take advantage of it. Howie Roseman is genius when it comes to things like that. So let's see how this thing unfolds, and we'll figure it out. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, and don't be a dingbat.